Been a few days. Got something to show you. The Ironhorse pipe. I built one for Lumber Jackson's beautiful 372. You guys have seen the build. If you haven't, go back through and watch. I made a few videos about what I did. I see there's people that's trying to build these, and they're doing good work. They really are. And don't be afraid to throw your own variation on a theme. Don't. I don't consider this exact science because we're not actually building an expansion chamber like we would for a dirt bike. You probably never ever see me build one for a saw. You might see me build them for bikes, but not a saw. It's so specific length critical to get that sound wave to come in at exactly the right time when that piston's open. I am mimicking that to a point. What we're actually doing with this pipe, what it does do, it flattens your power curve in the cut and right up to your peak RPM. It really does. So when that RPMs drop in the cut, it's got a long, broad power band. That's what it is. Let's just call it what it is. It's a power band. This is the band of power. And it'll cover where that you're cutting, whether you're dogged right in and you're pulling it down hard, or you're letting it just cut free and easy without the dogs. It covers it. It's the same horsepower right on through. There's a definite increase in horsepower if the pipe's right. But here's the deal. I shouldn't even say this. I ought to keep some things to myself. Some of these guys are getting they're getting pretty darn good at building saws. I got to have a few little edges, don't I? I've got them. I've got edges. As soon as the rest of the world catches up, we'll just go to the next level and the next one. We're still in first grade. There's a heck of a lot of education goes into two strokes, believe me. Even power saws. Okay. The dimensions that I use for these pipes and the method of building them to make them where that the common person can do it. This, if you got a MIG welder, great. If you need to braze them together or weld it together with your torch set, do what you got to do. But I'm going to show you today the common dimensions and the things to look out for. The one thing I'm going to tell you that it makes a difference is sometimes you can't do it, but it makes a difference. You see the angle of the pipe. Okay, you notice that it doesn't come out where the chain is. It's just behind the chain. If you want, that's loud. Trust me, that's loud. If you want that to be slightly quieter, carry that another ½ inch, 3/4 inch past. It'll be a little bit quieter. But if you notice, this top pipe comes up just slightly, and you see how it's not raised. It's not at center. It's raised up. So there's your profile. Okay, there's a reason for that, and it's magic. That's what it is. When you do that, you'll notice the difference. Now, the first thing, when you build this pipe, if you've run in a stock muffler, even if it's been opened up or you put a little short stub of pipe in it, that you'll notice, if you got the pipe right, your saw will instantly go pig rich. Here's why. When you have a pipe that will pull, it goes pig rich because all of a sudden, all of the hard work you've done on your port work is paying off. It's drawn more air through that saw by far. More air means more fuel. Okay? So, if you're building pipes and you got to lean them out, you're making power. If you have to richen them a little bit, you're making noise. This is my experience. You guys talk to me out there. Other designs of pipe might not do that, but this particular pipe, you know exactly. I'll fire this up for you real quick. I had it running a few minutes ago. Maybe I don't need choke, maybe I do. And it just, they are loud. That's the only problem with them, but they sure are a lot of fun. And here we go. was just telling my buddy Lumberjackson, this is his saw. I said, we got to develop smell-o-vision. And I'm going to tell you why. This has got 110 octane VP in it. It, when we first started it there on video back a week ago, remember, I didn't really notice the smell of fuel that much. And, boy, I'll tell you, we need smell-o-vision. This stuff smells really good. Okay, I might as well just pause this, take you in on the other side, and give you some dimensions. Let me give you some dimensions. Let me show you some real nice shortcuts and things you need to look for. Okay, here's the first thing. You could cheat on these. If you got an old junky muffler for the saw, this is for the 372s, obviously. Go ahead and cut right around. You can kind of see, you know, where it looks like where the gasket goes, like that. Just take your grinder or whatever you want to cut that out, okay? Now, there's something you need to know. This is one that I butchered, because I took that route. See these two pieces? That's where your bolts go through, okay? Now, what I do is just hack that muffler off, get in there and cut that off, and then on both sides when I get there. And then I just grind them down and make sure that your bolts will go through to tighten up on the opposite side of this. That's all you do. But a really better way is get yourself a piece of this steel. This happens to be, I think it's 2 inch. It's 2 inch by an 1/8. You can lay your muffler on the darn thing, or I mean your gasket on the darn thing. Scribe it. You can push it right up to one side if you want. Scribe it. Scribe your holes. Take a drill bit that matches this radius right here and drill 4 holes, and you can actually cut this center out with your jigsaw with a metal bit. But do yourself a favor, don't cut that out first. Leave your bar long. Get the holes in that, get that cut out, and you'll have a flange just that quick. It doesn't take long. It really don't. I'm going to show that in another video. My drill press is over and on the other side, and it's been so cold that my lights don't come on. You know how them old fluorescent lights are. Well, mine are worse than everybody else's, it seems like. Okay. The stock that I used today for this muffler is 1 3/4 ID, okay? So it's 1.5 OD. Cut yourself a piece. That'll trim up to 4 1/8. Okay, and you see where we're at. 4 1/8. I bore a small hole. This one would actually be to center, 1 1/4 inches from the end of your pipe, okay? And then take a big bit, one that'll nearly match the diameter of your pipe, which I need to get this out of here. Give me just a second, guys. I'm blessed with having a lot of tools to work with, but there's a lot of times I just do the simplest way is best. Okay, my second pipe, my exit pipe, is actually it's 3/4 inch ID. Okay. You have to, and do the same thing with this. When you're working with this pipe, leave it long so you can put it in a vise and hand. Nothing worse than having short pieces and you're trying to drill and everything and grind. But what you're looking for your fitment, this is not deburred yet. We'll do that in a few minutes. See? you're looking for it to kind of already have the opening. Hopefully you can see where we're at. But when you assemble it, instead of being straight out, you turn that so that, and you have to grind. You have to grind right across here, and with a bevel that'll match this, so that as a finished product, it goes in like that. See? That's all it is. Now, that's real simple stuff. Now, I see Charlie Briscoe goes to his parts store and finds a soft plug for your common engine that fits the end of the pipe, and he welds that on. That's great. I don't have a parts store close, and I'm not driving 25 miles to go get one. So what I do is just take a body washer, a flat washer with a fairly small hole in it, if I can find it, that'll fit over this pipe. Like that. And in this case, I just took my MIG, zip, 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 welded it shut. I grind both sides flat. That gets welded to the end of it like that. So you gotta, it works beautiful actually. But now I'm gonna deburr this, and I'm gonna show you the importance of that, of not putting this on till last. Not till last. Okay, here's the kick. If you don't mind them being just a little loud, where you cut this pipe, like I said, I leave things long and I trim them up when I'm done. But once you have, you see the radius is there and the angles. Hopefully this is helping you guys. Your distance from your pipe to where I cut this off on the higher RPM performance mufflers is 1 3/4 inches on this saw, which this is what, 76, 77 cc's now, and it's a 372. So you can just kind of work with that. So it's 1 3/4 inches. Once you've put it on, just butt up against your pipe, boom, know where you got to go and cut that off and grind it. But you still haven't welded this cap on, okay? Because after you get done welding that on, you can reach in there inside and take all them burrs off. Be very, very good about that and get that inside of that pipe as clean as you can. It's real important. So after you've welded the 3/4 ID, it's easy to clean up with this up. That's the last thing you do is weld that on. I'm going to show you, after we deburr this, I'm going to show you how to get this thing square, okay? That's what we need to do. Now, if you don't want that loud, but you want good, strong performance, and it's still as good performance, you can run this right out to 2 3/4 inches, okay? So it won't stick past here, the outer dog. It won't. Not, well, just a little, but, you know, just barely past that. It's 2 3/4 inches. Okay, so I might as well, while you're watching, take my little tool, get things moved around so I ain't stepping on a can of paint or something, and deburr it. I don't use these blunt tips very often, and deburring's a little hard on them. So the ones that I don't use often is the ones I use for this kind of thing. Okay? I'll try to do this where you can see. Don't they do a nice job? Okay, now see that flashing on the inside? First thing I do, okay, but the important part is I can still get in that hole to finish that deburring. Now we'll do the other end. There, see? That'll work. That'll get you where you can weld that. So remember, when you're putting this one on, that hole here is not straight out. It's up like that. Just about like that. And then you have to grind this piece right here so it fits just like that. That part is more important than you think, quite honestly. And I'm so glad to see so many of you trying to build this pipe. You can use about anything you want within reason. Here's what you got to look out for. Make sure, I generally have these tipped down a bit so I can get in there to them screws a little better, okay? You can't really see it, but what happens is if you can't get straight into that screw, you got to use one of these ball end. You got to use one of these ball end like this, and just kind of a little cheater pipe to get it tightened. But I didn't want this one drop down. I wanted it to stay up to just a little down, not much. It was more important for me to clear the saw and make sure the chain brake worked, see, than it was to have it exactly where I normally do. See, if you tip this pipe down, you got to angle this up even just a little more. It has to, instead of being like that, it'll be like that. That's fine as long as it sits in that area. Okay, I might just as well show you how I flatten these out. This is something you need to know. Okay, now don't do this. This is bad. I normally have a plate, but I'm going to use my old chop saw. That'll work just fine. Now, do yourself a favor and describe a line where you know straight up is. That way you know you don't have your hole like that. It's slightly up. Describe a line. But I've done enough of these. I just hold my thumb. Now, you have to go from round to square. That pipe has got to fit this gasket. Now, I build a mandrel that fits inside that gasket. We might use it, we might not. So I might as well see if I can bang you guys around. See, we got top and bottom flat. As long as that bottom is in contact with metal, it's going to want to become square. See, they're coming back to square. Now we got to finish flattening it. If you don't want to take time to build this mandrel, all this one is just a couple pieces of steel welded together, you know, with a taper cut on it, okay? So what it does is it fits inside that gasket. You know, you can see that what I'm talking about. So let's just see how bad that fits that gasket. Actually, I don't need to use the manual if I don't want, because I've done some darn many of these things. See, watch. That's already there. But if you want to clean that up just a bit, go ahead and stick that in there. Let me get it just a whisker. And it'll square it up. Oh, dropping everything. So you can see the principle there. This is actually for different pipes than the one I'm building right now, if you want to know the truth. But if you want to take your time with a hammer, you don't actually need the mandrel. Now from there, you can just take a pair of pliers and just kind of tweak that around a little bit so that when you put your gasket on, see? Now, like I said, we cut that piece out of the muffler and then you weld that in. Make sure that you've got rooms for the shoulders of your bolts to go into the flange that you weld on this. So you weld your flange on. Don't get too a lot of heat in your flange at first because you don't want it to warp. Make sure that stays flat. And if it doesn't, just dress that a bit to get it back to flat. Gasket will take up some of the deviations. So I'm not going to take the time to weld that next piece on here. But what I will do is I'm going to explain that once you have that welded, then you weld your other pipe at your given length. Remember, 1 3/4 to 2 and whatever I said. Then you go in there and you'll deburr that. And then you weld that on. Clean it up. Clean up your welds. Get a little high temp paint on that. Put it on your saw and enjoy. Let's talk about what a collective effort does. When you got more than one person working toward the same goals, coming up with ideas, generally something good of it happens. You guys, I read every comment. When you leave them comments, you are talking directly to me and I'm listening, okay? I don't get to answer a lot of them. I wish I could answer everyone, I really wish. But I can't. So I listen. I'm listening to you guys all the time. One of you asked me, and I was perplexed. Well, that's all great, fun, and dandy, but can you... These are loud. Is there some way you could build a muffler that works just as good, or nearly as good, and have it be much quieter? Well, why would you do that? Because you don't want to frickin' run a saw 8-9 hours a day that's frickin' screaming in your ears and the neighbors 3 miles away hear it, right? Okay. This is more for playing or the occasional tree cutting. You want to impress your friends, this is it right here. This is what does it. This really will. It'll impress you. That's why they work. Okay, let me answer that question slowly. I've got to try it. I think I've came upon something. I have to figure it all out.
You're not going to pull your sock off and put it on there, are you?
I'm going to put a sock on it. One with a hole in the toe.
There you go.
And, oh, don't worry, I got the other sock that matches it too. It's just a different color.
It's behind the dryer.
Okay. What if I do something with this by adding more pipe and building it like a turbo muffler? like that's on your car. They're turbo mufflers, you know, anymore. And what it is, it goes through a series of baffles and back out and then exits, and it's fairly quiet, isn't it? What if I figure out, coming off of this design, how to build a turbo muffler for a saw? I have figured it out. Does it work? I don't know. But we got a few days of nice weather. Once I get a few of these pipes built, I'm going to try one. Because it's very obvious I got room here to add more pipe wherever I want, don't I? The size of it, that's different. That's different. It's not this. But all I got to do is have it come out of this pipe into something else and then exit. Because the turbo goes out, comes through baffle, turns a corner, and goes out the other end. And they're quiet. Let's see if we can get good, strong performance with a quiet muffler and get the heat out of the saw. These pipes, they make a difference in horsepower. Trust me, they really do. But not like an expansion chamber. That's different. They really work. But I can't. We build logging saws here. We build saws that you can work with. I give you the numbers of how to build a great work saw. And there's a bunch of you guys doing it. And I'm proud of you. I'm watching you guys constantly coming up and stepping in and doing something neat. So we're going to do that something neat. Now, those of you that stayed to the end of the video, there's a tiny, tiny little channel called Man Time. He isn't very big. The guy fascinates me. I'll tell you what he's did. He's starting to get into porting chainsaw. He does the cabin out in the woods thing and a lot of like just country life stuff. And the guy's got skills, okay? So with just some common mechanical knowledge, he is learning how to port saws himself. He's actually, the last build there, that 61 with 272 top end, his first attempt at using a degree wheel, he went through, made a 2-part video of building a 61 with a 272 top end, doing it exactly by the numbers. And it's so neat to watch somebody like Man Time take videos like from me and Tin Man and whoever else was willing to show porting of how we particularly do things and applying it for the very first time. Because you're not going to do it just like us. You're going to develop your own methods, just like he has. Now, I'm not going to let the cat out of the video. Yeah, I'm not going to let the cat out of the video. Let's not do that. I'm not letting the cat out of the bag. But he does have a saw that's going to perform very well the first time. And you can do it too. I can't wait to see that saw in the wood there, Man Time. Good for you. Okay, that's it, guys. Had enough for one day. This is Sunday. What? It's got to be 72 degrees.
Yeah, I'm in my shorts right now.
Colin's in his shorts.
Middle of winter.
Yep. We're going to pay for this.
Yep.
One freaking day doesn't mean winter's over, does it?
No, it doesn't.
You know how to tell when winter's, I think winter's over? I won't have a beard that day.
It just falls off. He doesn't shave it.
Yeah, it just comes off. You know, this
Daylight
is no real
savings
beard.
time, it just falls off.
I got it glued on really good. Okay, thanks, guys. Goodbye.